Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Holler. Today we're going to use our math book. So, could you please turn to page 657 in your math book? I know we talked a little bit last week about inches and feet and yards, and we're going to continue to use these different terms and different measurement ways to measure again this week. So, what they want us to do for the first one is it says draw an object that you would measure an inch ruler with in box one. And in box two, you're going to draw something that you would measure a yardstick with. And then in box three, you are going to measure something that you would measure with a tape measure. A tape measure is right here in this picture. Something much larger than something that you would use with an inch ruler or with a yardstick. So I'd like you to draw those pictures and then come back and I will show you what I did. Okay, boys and girls, here are the three things that I chose to draw. In my first box, that is my picture of a piece of paper that has writing on it, and I would measure that with an inch ruler. And number two, that would be with a yardstick. That is my rug that's underneath my kitchen table. I would use a yardstick to measure that. And then my number three, a picture for number three is a picture of a swing set. And if I was trying to measure how far apart the two poles are on the end, I would use a tape measure to be able to figure out how long that would be. All right, let's get started over here on page 658. It says, you can select and use tools to measure length. Circle the tool you would use to measure our marker. So that's the most important thing with our lesson today that I want you to really know is what's the best tool to use when you are measuring? Like if you were measuring a marker, would you use an inch ruler? Would you use a yardstick? Or would you use a measuring tape? Remember, the inch ruler has 12 inches in it. The yardstick has 36 inches, so that's three of these in it. And a tape measure goes really far along, that like my dad uses when he is measuring pipe for his jobs. So, what one do you think you would use? If you said an inch ruler, you are correct. It seems that it would be silly to bring and use a tape measure to just measure a marker. Let's read this helpful hint. It says, measure objects shorter than a foot with an inch ruler, objects longer than a foot with a yardstick, and objects longer than 3 feet, remember 3 feet in 1 yardstick, you should use a measuring tape. So these are the three tools we're going to really focus on today. Inch ruler, yardstick, and the measuring tape. We're not going to worry so much about the actual measurement today. We are just going to figure out what tool we are going to use. Okay? So on number one, those are our dry erase board markers. So what do you think you would use to, what do you think you would use to measure one of our erasers in our classroom? If you said an inch ruler, you are right. So we are going to put an R here for ruler. We're going to make it super simple so we don't have to take forever to write it either. So write it with me. You would use a ruler or an inch ruler. Number two, that's a picture of, I think, a hallway in a classroom. I guess I should zoom in to see. Yep, I think so, a hallway somewhere. And so this hallway, what do you think would be a good tool to use to measure the hallway? If you said a yardstick, I think that's a great idea. A yardstick would be perfect to measure that. So we're going to put a Y for yardstick. Oh, the phone's ringing. You also could use a tape measure as well, but we're just going to use a yardstick to start with today. How about your hand? If you were doing your hand and you were measuring your hand, what do you think? What tool would you use? Would you need to use a tape measure? I don't think so. So we're just going to put an R for a ruler. If you want to go ahead and measure your hand, you can do that because I know you all have a ruler. I'm going to tell you what mine measures. Mine is from my wrist to the top of my tallest middle finger. It is 8 inches. I have big hands. All right, turn the page to 659. Okay. It says find the object, which we're not going to worry about that today. We're just going to choose the tool and measure it. So we're going to choose the tool and measure it. All right, so this time we're going to actually write what we would use. What tool would you use to measure a tissue box? If you said an inch ruler, you are correct. An inch ruler is correct. How about this next one? All right, these look like the cubbies. Are they? Yep. Oh, what do you guys think? The cubbies at school, what would you use? Well, you've got a lot of cubbies, so I think I would use a measuring tape. Okay, I would use a measuring tape. If you wanted to, you probably could use a yardstick, but I think a measuring tape would be easier than a yardstick. All right, let's see what number 6 is. I gotta zoom in there. Oh, it's a glue stick. All right, so what do you think a glue stick? What would you use for a glue stick? If you said inch ruler, you are correct. So we're gonna put inch ruler on that line. On number 7, oh, I already did that one. And what did we choose it? A swing set. A swing set is going to be the measuring tape. What about how tall your desk is? I wish we were sitting on our desks right now, but unfortunately we are not. So I think if you said yardstick, you are correct. You could always use the other ones, but we're trying to find the best choice. So a yardstick would work good for us, how tall your desk would be. And then number 9, we have those squares on our floor, and we use them. I use them a lot to be able to help figure out how far something is. I'm going to give you a clue for this one. It's one of those squares on the floor is 12 inches. So what should you use? What tool should you use? If you said inch ruler, you are correct. Each one of those squares on our floor at school is a foot, 1 foot long. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to look at page 660. Number 1 says, VJ measures the length of his bike with a yardstick. He says it is 1 yardstick long. How many inches long is that? So this is the question that they're asking us right here. How many inches long is his bike? And they said that VJ measured the length of his bike with 1 yardstick, a yardstick. So if we remember and we go back to this picture of a yardstick here, How many inches did we say were in that yardstick? Do you remember how many inches? Some of you might remember right off the top of your head, but just in case you don't, 12 inches are in 1 foot, and then in 2 feet, it's 12 more, and in 3 feet, that's 12 more. So that means that there are 3 feet in 1 yardstick. So we need to figure out what 12 plus 12 plus 12 is. Remember, I like to add my numbers a little bit differently, but my tens, I'm adding all my tens, 10, 20, 30, and then I'm adding my ones, 2, 4, 6. So my answer should be 36 inches because one of these, I'm going back here, one of these yardsticks is 3 of these inch rulers. So that means there are 3 feet in a yard. Here's 1 foot, there's another foot, and then another foot. And so that equals 36 inches. Number 11 says, Ethan measured his foot with a yardstick. What other tool would have been a better choice? So let's go back and look at those pictures. So he has his foot, and he's measuring his foot, and he measured it with this yardstick here. Do you think that was a very good choice? I think he's losing his mind. What would you use? If you said a ruler, you are correct. Oops. So I'm going to write in ruler because they want to know what other tool would have been a better choice. Oops. Our next one says, Asia measured her backyard with a ruler. Curtis measured his backyard with a yardstick. What other tool would have been a better choice? I don't know about you guys, but my backyard is really big, and I am not going to measure my backyard with a ruler or a yardstick. I'm always using a tape measure. So I'm going to write tape measure in that box or on that line because they want to know what other tool would have been a better choice. All right, let's look at the hot problem. It's not very difficult today, so we're just going to take a little look at it. It says, Omar laid 6 yardsticks end to end. So that means he laid one down and then another one down and then another one down. And he said he did that to measure his driveway. He said it was 6 feet long. Why is Omar wrong? If he wrote it, he said that he laid down 6 yardsticks. Well, he said what wrong? He laid down 6 yardsticks end to end to measure his driveway, but then he said it was 6 feet long. No, it's not 6 feet long. It is 6 yards long. Remember, if you look back at this picture, 6 of these right here, 6-inch rulers would be very different than the distance of 6 of these yardsticks, right? So we're just going to talk about that one today. Let's go down here a little bit. All right. Our last part is your homework. Now, remember how I crossed this box out? You're more than welcome to do those boxes on page 661. And I don't know if I took a picture of the next one, if they continue on the next page. But the biggest thing that I want you to make sure that you fill in your book is what tool is the best choice. All right, good luck. Happy measuring.